Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a little while since I've done a podcast because I'm a real person and not a fake or not a no. I'm a regular person and not some sort of famous comedian that the podcast is an important ancillary thing to my income. It's a thing that perhaps even threatens my income, as all I do is go on here and talk shit that could probably be used against me for an hour every week. But I haven't done one in a couple of weeks, and that's my bad. And a shit ton of news has piled up to the point where we actually had to have a meeting before this to figure out what we were even going to talk about and if we would even get through all of that, which I don't feel like we're going to, because do we ever? And today I have with me Chris Masimore and Derek Zubich, who have both been on the podcast before individually, but there was just too much awful shit happening in our world for us to like not have an entire panel discussion about everything terrible. And good. Yeah, I would like to talk about Diddy. I would like to talk about a lot of things, but there's something really, really important that happened now kind of a while ago, right? This is like old news if you did hear about it. However, I do feel like it didn't get the full attention and run through that it perhaps deserves, because to me, it's one of the funniest things. And, it's near and dear to my heart because I feel like, I am a big believer in the American tradition of if you have a heart full of dreams and a pocket full of lies, you can make just about anything happen up until you get caught. And once you get caught, they'll make a movie about you and hopefully you sign a good deal and everything. But a little while ago, and I think I know why it didn't get the full attention it deserved, because the focus was on the fact that they used AI art to promote this scam. But it's like they would have just hired, back in the day, they would have hired someone to paint something, like P.T. Barnum would have just been like, here, paint a two-headed lady, and it's just like a couple of guys in one dress, and it's like oh yeah, it's just you're not really seeing what you're going to see. But anyway, this happened in Scotland, so it wasn't in America, but it really kept the tradition alive, where there was these people came up with this Willy Wonka experience. And I know everyone like heard about it for a second, and they advertised it using some of the actual worst AI art. Like, to me, one of the funnier things is that the shit you can do with all that stuff now is absolutely incredible. Yeah. And they did this recently, and it looked like something someone would have made with it like 2 years ago. Like, it just looked like complete garbage. Like, they didn't even go, let's use this and combine it with Photoshop. Let's just let it write the text on it. Everything's like spelled wrong. And people went to this thing, and it was a giant disappointment. Because it promised this magical Willy Wonka world, and it was just like a gymnasium with like posters taped to the wall, and they just gave out every child like a single jelly bean, and it was just
$44 a person.
And it was $44 a person. It's like, if you have a whole family of snot-nosed brats, you're in for a couple $100. So people were like suing them apparently, and for just like, you wasted our money and our time, and our children don't believe in anything anymore now. And we hope they would
actually call the cops.
Yeah, they called the police, not even their lawyers, but just like, oi! Or however, I don't know how people in Scotland talk, but they've hoodwinked us, they have. And then the bobbies blew their whistles and came and just started hitting everybody.
Somebody should have been hit for that.
Somebody probably was. Like, you just don't hear about that. And it's like, it's like, America has a real problem with police brutality. And Scotland's like, well, we ain't got a problem with it. Like, it's just what we do.
No, I think you could sue to pay for the kids' therapy, I think.
Yeah, like, in one sense, you're really preparing them for life. Because it's just kind of like, life is basically like a big, beautiful ad, and then you just end up in a gray room with like a card table. Like, and that's what, like...
Welcome to college, kid.
Yeah. But the parents are like, they're in like 6th grade. We figured they wouldn't be disillusioned until like at least their senior year of high school. Like that, like me, like, that's... I think, when I was in 7th grade, I may still have believed in things to a certain degree or whatever. And it was, by senior year, I was just snorting crushed up Ritalin off of a copy of Antichrist Superstar and letting that sort of decide how the rest of my life would go. But that I came to that conclusion on my own. Although, to that point, real quick, this whole thing almost like I didn't really have time, and I figured they may not remember. Although my parents do watch this sometimes, and I was like, I kind of almost meant to ask them, was there ever a thing like this? Like when I was a kid, like was there ever a thing where it's like in the Star Tribune, they're like, oh, there's gonna be dinosaurs, and it's gonna be lots of fun, and then it just ends up being like cardboard cutouts of dinosaurs. I did actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I remember there being a commercial where you could meet the Ninja Turtles in person.
Yeah.
And it was at the fucking Brookdale Center, like that mall that
Classy.
Yeah, is that even still there?
No,
that's long gone. I remember when it was
It's
still
been replaced by a Walmart that's also closed.
Which is
yeah, that Walmart is closed.
Yeah.
It was just that suburb.
5 years tops, I think it lasted.
God, that's so short for a Walmart. Normally, they thrive in like a non-city dumpy ghetto suburb. Like it's like a perfect. That's where Walmarts belong, and they just couldn't keep their fucking shit together there somehow. But yeah, the Brookdale Mall was like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon would come on, and then there'd be like an ad where you could tell that they just did it. It was local, so it was like they did it into like a tin can. It was like, meet the Ninja Turtles in person. And it was just people in shitty costumes, and there wasn't even 4 of them. It was just 2 guys, and both of them were red. You know, it's like, oh God, like bring your kids to see guys in cardboard Ninja Turtles. But that's the spirit of which this Willy Wonka thing is, and like, and I love that. Yeah. Basically, only because they used AI art instead of like a. That's
a whole new kind of scam now that I'm excited about, because AI is obviously going to be great for scamming people, but what was interesting to me about this was that they used an AI scam that ended with being scammed in real life.
Yeah.
and usually the scam would kind of stop and start on the internet with the AI, but they like somehow use the AI to lure you into a real scam at a real place where you got really screwed and called real police and
yeah, like
real people.
That's the thing. I guess normally like an AI thing is just farming clicks. It's like like this this African child he was only 2 years old and he'd never seen paint before, but he painted a perfect picture of Jesus, which is proof that Jesus is real. 1 click equals 1 hallelujah. And they get they get all these likes on this Facebook page that ends up being used by like Cambridge Analytica to destabilize Missouri or something. But like that's Chris is absolutely right. That's usually what AI, it kind of starts and ends on the computer. But this is a thing to sucker people into like a real paid event that was just absolute horseshit.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, it's interesting to me too, because the whole thing about using that for a scam usually would be that I'm a faceless thing behind an internet that's just scamming you out of money and you'll never see me. But it's like to actually use that to lure you to a place where you could actually punch me. What I did is like, is it stupidity or is it fucking?
Well, that just takes balls. Like you're just like I'm gonna fool you with this made up thing, and then I'm just gonna be there when you realize I've stolen your money. Like,
that's the old circuses and sideshows and shit. Like that's all.
That's why you had to pack up and run out of town.
It was hearsay, or maybe a painted picture of a fucking elephant and a tiger and a fucking bearded lady and a strong man.
Yeah.
And you would hope that's what it was when they would roll through.
It fucking absolutely wasn't most of the time. Like, like I watched like a whole documentary too on the prevalence of just like the circus train coming to town during the terrifying like Dust Bowl. Like it's like people had never even heard of like animals that weren't like a mule or something, and they're like, you mean there's yellow ones with spots and like whatever, and they would like roll into town, and it would just be like that wasn't even a scam though. There'd be like there's people that are gonna like juggle some balls, like really, we just live in such fucking rotten, just rural dirt farming poverty that it's just kind of like people in face paint dancing around for an hour just really like takes the edge off of our hideous existence. But we don't live in that time anymore.
I mean, it's just the modern day version of that, you know?
Yeah.
It's so weird though, because we're not desperate to see anything. Like we can look at whatever we want like all the time. There's video games and weird video game porn and like all of this fucking shit. We're like probably about 3 years away from full dive Neuralink holodeck virtual reality, and it's just like, hey, On the event horizon of literally being able to bend all of perceivable reality to our whim, do you want to go into this like gray room with a fog machine, look at like a poster of Willy Wonka for $50?
Although, think about how sick it would be to fucking roll up to, if it was really kicking. If
they actually had done what they promised.
Think of how sweet it probably would have got 3 times more eyes than it would have.
Oh my God.
Maybe not. This is a pretty fucking funny story.
It would have been the place to be in Scotland on mushrooms.
Think if it was really fucking cool.
But I think the point, and that's the thing. That's exactly the thing. The odds that it were going to be really fucking cool were not in anyone's. Like, if you spent your money on this, you might as well have just flushed it down the toilet because, like,
Pictures are the best.
Like, I could imagine, like, Alexis and I have even had where she's just like, "Hey, does this look like fun?" I'm like, "Okay, let me take a look at this real quick." Like, that has happened. It would be like, let's like walk through what this is actually going to be. Like, okay, so there's this event. Let's like read the fine print. Like, okay, there's like 3 things to look at, and it's being advertised. It's like a fun thing for all ages. So you know what? We're going to pay $50 to see the back of 100 screaming children's heads. Like, that's it. We're just going to like push at our crotches to get by us and stuff. Like, it's just going to be a full nightmare. And usually we kind of come to the conclusion, and then like someone will have made like a TikTok video that they went there and they're like, it was really crowded and I couldn't hear or see anything. And like that's exactly like $80 is sort of a lot. And it's like, well, okay, so like, but here is where I want to, in this court case now, I have exhibits A through whatever the 4th letter is, I think D. God, I should know because of music and I don't. A, B, C, D. Yeah, D. The very first one. Let's see, I did these a little out of order here. Okay, but here's the advertisement that drew everyone in. And I want to point out that there were no other ancillary advertisements aside from this. This is what people saw. This is what made people go, shut up and take my money. And we're bringing the whole family to this event that ended up not being up to their standards. So here's the advertisement. Now, there's a few things about this. One... that the sucker that the scary ringmaster is holding looks like it has like a cartoon Juggalo girl blow up doll on it, which is horrifying. Like, there's some candy, there's things with faces. But let's take a look down at the text, shall we? No, I don't know. This is like the cheap free AI program that like comes with like a Windows 99 disk or something. Like, but so Live performance says, I don't know that that's spelled right. Catchy tons.
Cat-ga-catting.
Cat-ga-catting. Don't know what that is.
Actually, I think it says Karchy tons.
And, well, sweet teats. And
that's where everybody's 50 bucks went right there. Everybody saw sweet teats.
A Pasadites of sweet teats.
Pasadice of sweet teats, and that only comes after the exurdurary lollipops.
This looks like literally like a drunk person was just like...
Yeah, like... Dude. If you saw this painted on the side of a van, you would make an entire movie about stranger danger centered around what you saw. Like, you'd be inspired to go.
I would likely do the same thing that those people did, which is call the police.
I'm ready.
Yeah, but before you brought your kids there on purpose.
Oh yeah, no.
Not after.
No, yeah.
Not after you show up and we're like, my word, there was absolutely not a paradise of sweet teats at this.
I want the sweet teats.
It was an empty room, yeah. Like, even the
Karchy tons.
But it's like there were real pictures of absolutely nothing. This was what people saw.
What is that?
I don't know. Even the big lollipops to the left and the right towards the top there just look like big swirls of doo-doo.
I don't know much about these AI art things. You probably know more, but it seems like this one isn't even a very good one.
Oh, yeah. This one would have been bad. I don't know if I'm out of
pocket on that, but it seems like that's pretty rough.
I'll tell you what.
Harley Quinn.
That's what I'm saying. It looks like a weird Juggalette blow-up doll on this thing.
It's a Nazi Juggalo Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Just
and we're bringing our
Kensington
kids.
Avenue, Grateful Dead bear.
Like that bear has something growing out of the side of its face. Yeah, it's horrifically. Okay, so like there's a lot of people who now think they've got it figured out, and they're like, I know what AI looks like, and I routinely troll them, as you may have seen on Facebook.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, yeah, here's this, and they honestly can't figure it out because I know how to use it a little bit better. Also, I pair it with these fun things called Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator, where it's like now it's hopeless. Like, and these people could have done that and perhaps put text on there that were real words at all in the English language. Which, yeah, Scotland speaks English. It's not even. I also wonder too if this didn't get all the news that it deserved because. People, maybe that's just how they talk in Scotland. So it's like, oh, there's couchy tons
I was
there.
just gonna say, maybe if we said this in Scottish, maybe it would make sense.
A passerities of sweet teats. Yeah, I don't know. I do believe they still speak the King's English.
You can't really fuck up sweet teats
in the land of Scots. Yeah, that's a nightmare. So
I'm assuming it was supposed to be a paradise of sweet treats.
Maybe, unless they were seriously like, you don't bring like. You know what would have been really amazing is if they did mean that of sweet teats, and then everybody kind of misunderstood the advertising, and they brought their kids, and they weren't supposed to. So they're like, "Fuck! All we have are strippers covered in like chocolate sauce. Hide them in back, and then just have a guy come out and be Willy Wonka. He was gonna be the male talent, but just talk to the kids. Like it was just supposed to be a live porno orgy thing, and they're like, oh shit, we're gonna go to jail. There's children here." So maybe they just had to sweep it under the rug at the last second.
So that was the whole thing too. Like the dude that played Willy Wonka.
Oh, let's get to Exhibit B. While we talk about this, let's have a visual aid. There he is. A man not at all suffering from fetal alcohol syndrome. I'll tell you that right now.
Of course not.
And it says, stand-up comedian hired to play Willy Wonka at the widely criticized Willy's Chocolate Experience, which, by the way, I forgot that was the actual name of that. That adds a lot of credence to it was going to be this horny stripper chocolate-covered nightmare thing, and they just had to change it at the last second. Willy's Chocolate Experience. That's just butt stuff. Willy is just dick in the UK, which Scotland is part of. But he said, I'm constantly applying for more acting jobs and comedy work, which is depressing. Then I got a phone call saying, congratulations, you're going to play Willy Wonka. We will send you over the script and dress rehearsal is tomorrow. The script was 15 pages of AI-generated gibberish of me just monologuing these mad things, and at the end of my monologue, I was supposed to suck up the unknown man with a vacuum cleaner. I asked them if they had a vacuum cleaner, and they said, yeah, we haven't really got there yet, so just improvise. So these people, they not only use like shitty AI stuff for the...
This couldn't even spring for a vacuum.
No. There wasn't already a vacuum in this empty warehouse. Yeah, they're just like it's the one prop that there would already be.
Oh my god, that picture. Guys, you're not going to believe it. I got the fucking role of a lifetime.
I got the fucking role of a lifetime, boys.
Check me out. Check me out.
I would have, you know what? If someone offered me to now at this point in my life, it would have to have been for a tidy sum, which these people, I mean, I also would wonder, did this guy's check clear? Because I kind of imagine it did not.
Yeah. I'd love to know what the...
You can tell that was right before he fucking
He's
left
all right.
for his first day of work.
Yeah, he puts it on Instagram.
Here we are, motherfuckers, this is it.
What do you think the paycheck is for 15 pages of AI-generated gibberish?
That, by the way, that is a lot of bullshit to memorize, even if it was logically followable human stuff, where you're like, oh, it's I talk about this, talk about that, but I can just imagine from the misspellings and shit on that first thing we were just looking at.
Yeah.
This was probably no better, and it's just kind of like...
Even the look on his face says, what the fuck am I doing here?
I feel like I know that guy.
I can't believe that this is... he's in a weird, old, timey shit that, somebody would have worn in, the movie Tombstone.
Dude, I mean...
Deadwood. And he's fucking looks like Bill Burr's little brother with fucking...
That's the armorer's husband, the armorer on Dust...
Or Rust again.
That's her.
Gave Alec Baldwin a fucking loaded revolver.
That's her husband and shit. He's behind it all.
Caused the murder of a bunch of people. Yeah, it just. I feel bad that all we could focus on is how ugly this man is, but I can't help that
terrible.
he is. Actually, he's probably the handsomest man in all of Glasgow.
Shut up, this guy. He rules.
Have you ever seen just like an average like man on the street photograph of just people in Scotland? That guy is their Brad Pitt. Like,
Yeah. Look at his teeth are straight.
he has all of them. In both ears and everything. Yeah. So there's that old Simpsons where Willie, suddenly the ugliest man in Glasgow wasn't good enough for you anymore. I can sort of hear this guy saying this, but yeah.
Fuck yeah, he's probably shredded under that jacket.
He might be. He's like, have you lunch, Lady Doris? Have you got any grease? Then grease me up, woman. Okie dokie. He's got like an 8-pack. Yeah, so this poor man who we're mocking incessantly, also he's probably like 100 million times more famous than he was ever about to be.
Oh yeah, he's got jobs now.
Yeah.
He's got jobs
Just
now.
because of this, except for the fact that you will notice stand-up comedian unnamed, untagged, hired to play. Like, it actually says fuck all about it. You'd have to Google reverse image search this guy just to figure out who he is, and I'm not about to do that. So there he goes back into obscurity and humiliation.
Shout out that guy.
Shout out whoever the hell that is.
Willy Wonka.
They did him like he's an
Wonka.
accomplished wife of another famous guy. Where it's just like Stephen King's wife was. It's like they don't mention. Oh, she's like a neurosurgeon, but wife of famous creep.
Guy who played Willy Wonka.
Who's a struggling comedian and actor who we're not going to throw a goddamn bone to, because if you're trying to do music or art or anything, it's like people are just offended when you ask them, be like, hey, could I get a little self-promotion for free? It's like, when we said we'd pay you in exposure, we didn't even mean that.
It's kind of crazy when you peel the onion layers here of just like everybody got fucked every single turn.
The whole yeah.
Like, it was just the people working there couldn't find a fucking vacuum. The guy running the thing's getting sued. The poor comedian can't get tagged.
Oh, and let's
Fucking
People are
door
calling
guys
the
got no
police.
idea what's going on.
And let's not forget the lady who had to dress as an Oompa Loompa, which even for a lot of money is pretty embarrassing, and hand out apparently they were like every child gets like a single jelly bean and a Dixie cup full of lemonade, as their sumptuous candy experience or whatever. And she looks exactly how you would expect the person in this situation to look, which is just a combination of just frazzled. You could see,
It was like a sad prostitute that got hired to do like a fucking chemistry film for high school.
Dude.
Yeah, and the look on her face is more than just one of dejection. It's also one of contemplation. Like, this is just like, I could maybe just take an aluminum baseball bat out from under this table and just start whacking kids until at least I'm real famous and my 3 meals a day are paid for.
She seems like she might be scanning the room for the nearest window to jump out of.
Yeah, this is someone who that is the look of I am a threat to myself and others at this point.
Yep. She's leaving here and doing step-aunt porn after this.
And that would be such a monumental step up. It's that step up porn.
Maybe that's her happy
up
face of
porn.
like, I guess I don't have to like put any of this shit in me right now.
Yeah.
That is a full
Like,
meth lab.
She's like, I can't believe that.
What is this? What?
Yeah, what does
is
this
this?
have to do with Willy Wonka? Because it does look like we're just like
She's like,
doing like weird science experiments.
I can't believe they didn't pay me extra to bring my meth lab from home.
Is that thing on the left too just straight up the brush that you scrub your toilet with?
Yeah, that's a toilet brush right over here. You can't really see me, but
Right there?
to the left, yeah.
That's actually...
What is happening there?
That's a fucking... That's a scrubber for those apparatus.
And I think the thing in
Not to drop some work on you, but...
well, the in front of that scrubber apparatus, I think, is just a bottle of Fireball.
With a hose coming out of it?
Yeah.
Floppy straw.
This, again, adds more. This was supposed to be a live,
Why is it smoky, though?
Yeah, I
erotic.
was just wondering that too. It's like we got fog machines. Like it's a fucking.
That might be crack smoke.
That really adds to the fucking meth lab.
If I think about Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, even the recent stupid movies,
Cigars?
I don't know.
that?
I don't know if that's like the lemonade. Yeah, those look like pre-rolls. Look, I think this was supposed to be a drug-fueled live pornographic immersive experience for the parents of these children. And this is where she's just like, I was going to get paid the same amount of money to get just like DP'd by a couple of guys in top hats. And we were going to smoke this meth and drink that fireball, and all this shit was going to happen. And now I just have to hand out Dixie cups full of disappointment to just screaming children.
Or maybe that just happened on the other side of the curtain, and she just quick changed and.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just put on this wig and put on this thing. Like, get dressed. No, wait. Yeah. They brought their kids. No, I'm serious. Yeah, they misunderstood. Just listen. Like,
I gotta say,
you can keep the wig you were going to use. That's fine, but.
We're already 2 for 2 on people that work there. Like, the actual press photos, they look like they're contemplating, like, a whole lot of their life choices.
Someone's gonna die.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think this would have been,
Someone's gonna die.
Like, she has that look on her face of, like, how did it come to this?
This story could have turned into the world's most understandable and forgivable mass shooting in history.
Yeah, I was also just thinking, too, is, like, I know there's still, obviously, like, a lot of states that still have capital punishment.
Yeah.
Public execution. This right here is why it was done publicly for so long. You know what I mean? Like, just because it's not just about you paying the price for what you did. It's like
people
you ruined so many people's fucking time and gave so many people a bad time that you're gonna give something back.
Yes.
Yeah.
They deserve some of the amusement that you stole from them in watching.
Think about the stories these poor kids are gonna have, like going to this fucking place.
You know, the funny thing is too that if they're young enough, it's like they won't remember that. They're just gonna remember their parents are gonna talk about it at like every. Can you believe we we brought the kids, we spent a whole Saturday at this bowl. The kids are like, I thought it was fun. It's like
$40.
You go to your room.
$40 for all of us.
Yeah,
$40 to see some meth lab prostitute pretend to be an Oompa Loompa at a fucking.
When you say it like that,
scam.
When you say it like that, I got $40 on me right now. I mean, I'm not super not into this idea.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the whole thing sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, as I say that out loud, they
is this still happening?
Promoted it as what it is, and it would have actually made way more money and not had anybody get sued.
Yeah, just have like a Tim and Eric style. Like, it's like, we got a big empty warehouse. You'll be able to yell and it'll echo, and Skrill give you one piece of candy corn apiece, stick it up your nose. It'll be really fun. Like, I'm gonna go. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is. I think before the podcast we were talking about how a long American tradition of just profiting by a combination of fraud and disappointment.
Yeah.
That. Again, like, you really got to look at all the evidence together. When you look at the advertisement that brought the people there, it's like they should have all of their money taken from them. Like, I can't believe that's like Nigerian prince level of like, oh, we sent him $1,000. Like, we were hoping. You were like, well, if you fell for this, you would fall for fucking. We should find out who these people are and try to rip them off. Like, honestly, the three of us are going into some Ghostbusters style business, just siphoning money out of these same. We'll just geotag them and follow them forever, just finding different, put on different fake mustaches and hats and just taking their life savings from them. Like, because to fall for that is like,
I'm a simple goo man.
Oh Jesus! Okay, so there's one last piece of evidence here, and I just put chocolate disappointment. But all this is, so we haven't seen a ton of this, but it's just pictures of what people actually saw. Like, I think the sad Oompa Loompa girl is one of the pictures in here, but you can see there's like a tarp pinned, just like a beige wall. There's this, honestly, the bottom right is like the most fun looking part. Like, it's like a mini golf course, like, but parts of it just like in storage.
Yeah, like
I was just gonna say, it looks like
a fucking Lorax.
Yeah,
fucking. It's like the was there a play like the Lorax? Maybe this person was a set designer or something.
I bet they just found this shit.
That looks like the fucking Lorax. It looks like a mix of the Lorax and a Christmas So somebody got all the mall stuff from a mall like kiosk or something.
Yeah, someone looted a pageant. Like that.
The way they've got it set up, it literally looks like a mice-infested like storage prop room for like a theater company.
Yeah, it's like
everybody's just kind of set everywhere, and it wasn't like wasn't supposed to be a thing. This is just where we keep shit.
Yeah, like they didn't even.
This is where we just keep a sad Oompa Loompa
this
hooker
is where
in a meth lab.
Just somebody forgot to lock where they just kept the mini golf course props, and they're like, "Hey, we can make money off this."
I mean, you can tell on her face she feels very much like a prop.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, Chris, you and I have played in a band together, and I think maybe on more than a few occasions we've shown up to a situation that wasn't quite as extravagant as I promised. And that's part of where that look is coming from.
It's all just
It is.
It's all a version of this.
It does scream of like the type of Blue Felix concerts where we show up, and in order to get like the guitar rig and like the mics to work, they had to like unplug the refrigerator that was like, making the ice for the bar.
There's like an extension cord like running across the street to somebody's house, and we're just you got like a square of cardboard.
Oh my
They're like, it's gonna be this like
we're just siphoning electricity from the house across the street that people are like stripping copper out.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, we don't live there. We just broke in, and it turns out the power's still on. So
I wouldn't be surprised if this dude just found an empty warehouse and.
I think this shit was already in there. Like that, I actually like, this looks so much like...
Did he just stumble onto this place
This
and
guy,
was like, wait a minute.
This guy had lost his job in fucking L.A. He was a set designer. Not a very good one, I might add. Maybe like Broadway. He was a Broadway guy. No, wait.
This is in Scotland.
Okay, so
this
Scotland.
is in fucking Glasgow.
Yeah, so this is, some guy. He was a play guy. He just had access to maybe one of the bigger fucking stages, and I mean, look at all that shit. That's all play. That's all like play stuff.
Yeah. There's also, you got to remember the culture.
When he robbed the entire theater and just was hoping on this one big fucking gig.
I think this thing
we're gonna put everything in one big room, and we're gonna call it. We're gonna spend 2 seconds making an Alice
AI
in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Fucking the goddamn
the Lorax.
The fucking mall's
the Lollipop League from the Wizard of Oz.
This isn't fucking Willy Wonka.
No.
This is fucking...
No, but there was like at the time, that movie that recently, that weird like prequel movie was coming out. So he's just like, you know what? Like, I think this guy is a genius, actually. Like, I am starting to think that also, we're not taking into account the cultural relevance of the Glasgow, Scotland is like fucking so famously a dump that these people that were complaining were actually probably just out of pocket. Like, this is probably the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for anybody.
These are probably, realistically, it was probably like some like American influencer that was just like, my God, I'm traveling abroad.
Yeah,
I went to this. It looked so.
Yeah, this
amazing.
smells
and
like
I am like, and realistically,
this is American
the
interference.
general public there probably fucking loved it.
They did. They were just like, wait a minute. Like, one person complained, and they're like, oh, maybe we can get our $44 back. Fucking Scotland. I mean, I have a lot of Scot in me, so I can talk that shit. It's just endlessly. Mike Myers taught us that being racist to European white people is the best way to go.
Look at his head.
Look at his head. It's just always a Sputnik. Yeah.
Look at the size of it.
So let me just read for anyone that for some reason is listening to this only, but. So this guy, it's just this post, but he's like, I love the AI Willy Wonka scam. Again, the focusing on the AI stuff is maybe like a little misleading because it's just a regular scam in the 21st century. Yeah. But every single photo I've seen from it is unintentionally art, which is ironic considering AI Gen slop had a direct role in its inception, which is true. It's some of the worst. Like, just someone just typed in half a sentence and they're like, here we go. I love the exhausted Oompa Loompa. I love that it's all in a gray warehouse full of fake fog. And someone else like actually in awe of how grim this is. Standing. That rainbow, they stole in the top left there, that weird pinata rainbow thing. It's like they stole from like a nice.
That's a parade float. Fuck.
No, that is from the funeral of like a 83-year-old lesbian that was a pillar of her small town.
Oh yeah,
like and they're just like
judge
until
for
you
50 years.
Yeah, and she's like, oh yeah, fucking Judge Carla, like, and her roommate was just bawling, you know. That's a rainbow from an elderly lesbian funeral.
Everybody that went to that though, like 10 years from now, they got a fucking story.
They really do. I hope that they at some point they're telling a friend, and there's like only so many articles about it, and for some reason this podcast gets tapped, and it's mostly us talking about how inbred the guy that looks like Willy Wonka.
I'm trying to figure out how do we do this like ironically here.
I don't think there needs to be any irony about it, my friend. A person near and dear to our hearts who signs our paychecks had the idea a little while ago that we should have sign-up sheets at some of the local stores for an invitation to a secret party that you can only get by, and it was a way to get, you know, email addresses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that was the main thing. And then the party that may happen to make good on it was the part that had absolutely no real... It was just sort of, John might figure it out later type of thing. And that, you know, actually might be our window to kind of recreate this a little bit. Like, oh boy, like, yeah, it's going to be like a rave. We got to sign up, and like, it's not open to the public. And I know of a big gray brick room that...
Once a week,
I have a fog machine right over there I could bring in, like... I don't know. There might be. I shouldn't say any more about it than that. But
yeah,
I don't know. The spirit of this whole thing maybe could live on.
Yeah,
it might be it might be something that like the best I could hope for is when someone invariably gets mad at us, I can point to this as precedent and being like, listen, this is how it is now. Like this is the best you're gonna. We're not springing for real animatronics. No. Like it's gonna be, but at least the smoke filling up this concrete warehouse will get you high, and that's, you know, and there will be no children allowed. As I was saying pre-podcast, that the only reason I would ever hope to be actually financially successful is to eat places where the children have to wear suits and be silent. So I either need a time machine back to 1950 or like $14 million, but one or the other is fine.
Yeah. The
time machine may eventually end up being cheaper. But yeah, so that it was just like our collective chests needed to get that that needed to be unpacked better than I think that everybody else had. And we did reference, of course, a lot of P.T. Barnum, because again, it's very much in the spirit of that.
Yeah.
And we did talk about how, you know, you might see a painting of a real woman with two heads, but, you know, again, it's just someone with a sheet with two holes cut in it and just two guys under it or something. But funny we should mention that we live here in Minnesota, which is the home of a real, and I don't have pictures. You can just Google this yourself. There's exactly one two-headed lady in real life that's currently alive, and you know, other than them. She's not a two-headed lady. It's two people. It's conjoined twins. They are two different people, but just kind of functionally seems as if you were drinking at Gastoff de Zurich's or whatever, and you looked over after having a particularly strong IPA, you might think you're tripping because you saw a lady with two heads who lives again here. Like we live where we might see that, but. Yeah, I don't do my homework or really pay any attention to anything, but it's two gals, they're conjoined twins. He's essentially like a two-headed lady, P.T. Barnum style, and all over social media. And the weird thing to me is this is almost like a Mandela effect, because I swear to God, this lady there was already news about her, like them years ago, or the one that got married.
Yep.
But apparently they just officially tied the knot, or maybe they had a divorce.
One of them tied the the main one?
I don't know. Now that's a good question.
Main one tied the knot?
Who wears the hat in this family?
So
is it lefty or righty?
Who puts the pant leg on?
I don't.
Yeah. Because we're discussing, I put my pants on one leg at a time like everyone else, but we have to have a meeting first. So
I think it's Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, the main one, the main.
Why?
We're treading weird waters.
Derek, I gotta say that we discussed this a little bit earlier, and you never once mentioned that there was a main one.
Well,
is there trouble in paradise already? Is there a power struggle?
This is kind of the story I may have done a lot of research on.
I appreciate you for that, by the way.
Give us the details.
There's
what's the power structure here?
There's not a lot of detail. It's just
there has to be a lot of detail in a person who has two spinal cords.
For me, it's that's a good one. I'm not sure if there's two spinal cords. I know they share organs.
Well, there has to be. And it's got to be like a Y-shaped. Her spinal cord has to look like the flux capacitor.
I'm not sure.
Only one has a spine. The other one is like a weird jellyfish sort of creature.
They drive. They actually pass their driver's test.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So, but it's like one controls one arm and one controls the other arm.
But they share a pussy.
And
that is the trouble with the relationship.
Yes, let's just save minutes here and we'll work our way down.
Well, it's all anyone wants to hear about.
So there's I'm do your own research, but I think they share maybe below. I think there's two hearts.
I think it's below ribcage.
I believe there's two stomachs. There's multiple.
Really?
Yes, but then once it comes to maybe just above the waist, we're down to one.
We're down to one. Now, wouldn't it be interesting, because, there's all this talk, and apparently they did an interview where they were very unabashed about, they say, oh, my sister just puts on headphones and reads a book while I get fucked. We orgasm as one, which sounds like William Shatner Star Trek type of, the people of this planet, they all orgasm as one. I'm sure they didn't say it like that, but in print. But here's the interesting thing that I just thought of right now. They share a butthole, but what if one is way into anal and the other one isn't? And what if the one that's way into it is not the one that's married to the guy, but for his birthday or whatever, the one that he is married to begrudgingly sort of is okay,
fine.
I'm gonna bite this leather belt and just let you go at it because it's it'll be over in 5 minutes. And the other one just fucking loves it, and she's undermining Christmas is coming up, just kind of whispering, whispering in the ear. She's I could kind of just ignore it when we're getting, a fucking mediocre wienering by this guy in the vagina hole or whatever. It's just yeah, we might come, we might not, or whatever. But then the one is just I fucking hate it up the ass. And the other one is I have discovered my purpose. But she's not the one that's married. What the fuck? I just, I like your thought that there's a main one, because maybe the other one was well, I would like to get married too, and she's bonk, you shut up,
Well, I mean, clearly
we're not bringing another man into this.
If you looked at them, the one.
Continue, Professor.
The one really looks kind of homunculus, it's just kind of.
Yeah. The other one's just kind of the tumor that came to life. That's sort of what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Quaid.
That's Quano.
Start the reactor.
Talking about the chick that got married.
Yeah, but we're talking about the other one. Derek thinks there's a main one.
There is a main one. It's the one that got married.
Really? So the other one is just her Quano?
The other one.
Holy shit!
We've been talking about this at work. So
My child bride knows the entire story.
Also looked up okay, so they share one vagina.
Yes.
They both orgasm.
Yes, we orgasm as one, Star Trek.
What?
Just
I
puts
can't
on
breathe.
headphones and reads a book.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But my thought was this. Let me run this by you, my wife.
Yeah.
What if the main one, which apparently there is a main one, and there's just the other one is just this Krang tumor stuck to the other one. But okay, so the main one is married to the guy.
Yeah.
And she hates anal, right? But on his birthday, whatever, she'll put up with it. And the other one fucking loves it. So now
Well, what if that's her butthole?
there's one butthole. They both feel it in the butthole, but one of them is just like, it hurts and it feels like I'm shitting. I don't like it. And the other one's just kind of like, oh, I like this better than in the pussy. Like, oh my God, because there's girls like that. Like, but so like, she starts to undermine like, oh, I'll just put on my headphones. But it's like, you just had your birthday, but it's going to be St. Patrick's Day soon. Maybe you could let them.
Because I brought up, like,
yeah, at your job, I imagine. Yeah, okay.
I brought up, like, what if the other one thinks the other one's cheating with her husband?
Yeah.
Like, does she, like, talk behind her back? Well, she can't really.
I don't.
But the other one controls the other arm. So then that's where the whole rhythm thing came up.
Oh, and you're talking about jacking me off to music
like,
for my.
What if the other one's better?
Yeah.
And then she.
Do you think because one could wake up while the other's in full REM sleep and be like, do you want an earthy fucking like 6 out of 10 hand job instead of that fucking 7th grade bullshit? The other one's
my sister's arm.
Yeah,
fucking weak, dude.
But
yeah.
There's a story about how the other one just like puts on headphones and like dissociates.
Yeah. But I think that's a lie. I think she just
you can't.
No.
On her social media.
It's this thing.
Like,
No,
everyone keeps asking.
I know. Yeah, and I have a lot of questions. But here's the thing. I think that's a lie she tells to her sister. Like, oh, I'm just gonna put on headphones and I'm not gonna be like whatever. And she might be just like she's listening to like monster dick porn and just kind of being like, yeah, no, I hate it, or I don't hate it. It's cool. You do you. I'm just not gonna pay any attention or whatever. But she's loving every second of it.
Oh, she is.
Yeah.
You can't read.
Thank you.
What, you're gonna read Whiplash? Like, I would read the same damn line over and over again.
Well, yeah, you're just like, well, she'd have one hand, but yeah, like, and that's the thing. Like, what if the non-main one gets married to yet another guy, and like they're weird about?
So I thought the whole shtick though
That's
is only one.
let's talk about the guy.
It's not legal to have. Like here, I guess, or whatever, to marry both.
But do they have 2 driver's licenses? That's the thing.
We looked this up too. So
Here, come a little. You don't have to be on camera, but just come so that your voice will get picked up a bit more.
So they went to school.
Yes.
They had to pay like dual tuition.
Right.
But they only got the 1 degree.
This country is bullshit. Let me tell you. Like they both had to pay to go to college, and they get like 1 salary as a teacher.
They only get paid the 1 salary.
I fucking hate it here like that. Yeah, no, it's funny because that's like, I always bitch about like, they count your money before taxes and all your shit when you're asking for help, but they count it like after like everything if you're trying to be like, oh, I'm not making that much money or whatever. It's like, well, before taxes and everything else, you're like, so it's like if you're looking for a loan, they count the little number, and if you're looking for like actual like help or whatever, they look at the big number. It's like, oh yeah, no, like we're not gonna like literally like I ran into this once, and I was looking at like medical insurance versus like
conjoined twin.
Yeah, when I became a conjoined
Here's
twin.
my next question.
And my left nut started talking.
Conjoined twins, right? But
yeah.
What are Siamese twins?
That is just a weird old-timey offensive racist term for conjoined twins.
I think they're the same,
but
right?
They're not like Asian?
Well, I think it's just that I was going to bring this up.
Because I think of the Siamese cats from...
No, they're not.
It's more common over?
We are Siamese. Well, maybe. They just have so many more people.
Like, did they only used to call that because, like, the Asian population used to be more conjoined?
Well, I think it's literally because we're talking about P.T. Barnum. I think there was, like, a more famous picture of conjoined twins. Because most people like that just die.
There's 2 famous dudes who have, like, over 12 kids. Because then we started talking about reproductive... They're like, well, can they reproduce? Or
probably.
No?
If the fact that they're not dead by like 11 years old is insane. Like they're just fine. They're like your age, maybe older. Like
the fact that we're having this conversation about this whole situation is nuts.
But the thing is I think I was gonna say like I don't have a picture of them, but I was like just Google it because you're either gonna find them. Well, but I didn't load it up in the. You're either gonna find them or like a black and white picture of 2 actual guys in like Bruce Lee like just like stereotypical Asian things from like the early 1900s or something. There's not been that many people that are like that, and like there's a lot of two-headed snakes and stuff, but their systems are so much simpler or whatever.
So this has been the main topic at work. So we talk about it, but we're specifically...
Alexis works in a hospital, by the way.
But we keep only talking about the sexual part, so whenever a doctor comes out, we go, shh, and then they leave, and they're like, okay, but like...
Yeah.
I said if I was the weird, like the one that's supposed to wear the headphones, I would just stare at the guy and make him really uncomfortable. Like the whole time I would just like not blink.
I'd talk in his ear.
Wouldn't you have to just like
fucking me too?
I was like,
have to come
Like,
together with your sibling and
you have
like
small
just
balls.
join in because like I mean
I'm gonna
I know it's
bite 'em.
absurd, but it's like if you're gonna like be married and you're blowing your husband, every time you're blowing your husband, your sister is right there.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it's.
then my coworker's like, but that's incest because they're stupid.
no.
I hear
Yeah,
that, but it's like
what
it's
other
also just like
situation
it's
you got?
such a one of a kind situation that you can't.
You're not fucking your sister, so I don't think it's really incest.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
No,
like,
he's not. No, they're. Well, I mean, I guess they're getting off together. It sort of is like.
They have one vagina. They
Yeah,
can't do anything else.
it is like having like a threesome with twins that's super boring.
But
Like
anyway.
regularly.
Yep. So that's what I do at my hospital job.
No, yeah, I know.
That guy is. I have questions about this man.
Do you think he'd do the podcast?
Dude, let's talk to him.
I mean,
I wonder
as
how
long
Let's
as he
fucking
doesn't
talk to
watch
him.
this one, I guess we'll be fine.
It would be very interesting actually to hear his story of like what led him to that. You know, or not to that, but like how they met, what their story was of like how did you meet them? How did you fall in love specifically with just the one?
What's his career? Because if he's a scientist, he's like really into mitosis.
I think he's
the great grandson of Dr. Joseph Mengele,
He's
just
a
living out his destiny.
he's a gamer on Twitch.
Is that really
No,
true?
no.
You said you did all this actual research about it.
No, he's the only. They're very quiet about him. You don't. There's not a lot about him. It's all about them.
Well, yeah,
You know everything about
Yeah,
them.
he's got one head. Who fucking cares?
You know, you don't. I feel like they're trying to protect this fucking guy.
Well, he's just
for
a
some
guy,
reason.
though. It's like
Yeah,
it's
he's
a
just a one-headed guy. Like
It's a
everyone.
foregone conclusion that a guy will stick his wiener in fucking anything, and it's like we know that. So
He
just
has two, it's just in his pants.
yeah. Wait, he has two dicks.
No, two heads.
Oh, the other one. I get it. That's what ladies.
Two dicks, he'd be
You're
a snake.
thinking with the wrong head. Nah. I just want the other one to also get married, and to them they just DP every single time. Like, and just somebody gets I don't know. Like, it should just be like really like scary and gross, and then I want someone to film it so I can look at it.
At work, I have a lot of time to think about this shit. When I'm just, there's just torch noise and that's it. And
Just lost in the abyss.
I just took a break and got super high, and then I come in and I'm thinking about, I've on my break I'm looking at this weird shit like, oh my god, and then it's like, it leads to so many questions, and it all comes back to this guy. Like, how did you meet her?
Yeah.
I really want to know.
How did it get past like, I think you're pretty?
What was the first date like?
Like,
Yeah, like where does this start? Because like everybody knows that hitting on the fat friend is the best way to get to the problematically hot and drunk nightmare that's going to key your car eventually. Yeah, but this guy, did he hit on the one that wasn't the main one to make the main one a little jealous? I mean, like,
was the whole date
How do you-
just like plural, like, oh, I fucking love you guys, like, like, how do you?
because you're like you're addressing like a crowd like every time. Like, how is it
How's
not
the eye
mean?
contact in that relationship?
Because it's like, is that what he did? He's just kind of like, you have beautiful eyes. Not you. You have beautiful eyes. I mean, you both have nice tits. Yeah, man. Like,
That might be cool. I thought about that.
maybe she's just, or like,
I think that's kind of where the splits.
no, they have two tits though. I mean, they don't have three.
There is, but I think
Probably.
one is one's and one is the other.
Yeah,
one.
what if I would fuck, if if they split just so that, you know, they have two heads and everything mostly conjoins, but then they just have those 3 perfect Total Recall tits. Like, that would be... I would not question that guy's motives any longer. I would just be like, whatever.
What's that one move called? The rusty trombone? Think about the rusty trombone you could get from that chick.
I think about it a lot, Derek, and they can only do one mouth at a time.
Damn.
I only have one asshole.
Yeah,
by the way, for the listeners that don't know, what the rusty trombone is a lady she crouches down behind you, you see, and then she reaches around and grabs your erect penis, and then she jacks it off, and blows into your butthole and goes. And I think that it would be pretty much the same with her as anybody, unless they were like a bunch of circus seals.
Then it goes back to that Family Guy. Which one of you wants to taste it? Which one of you wants to smell it?
Okay, listen.
We're walking on thin ice here, folks.
No, we're fine.
Let's take some time.
Who really is going to
sponsor
watch
BetterHelp?
Better help.
Better get help.
Get out of So okay, like I think we should do a twofer, but we're gonna pretend it's next week.
Cut that.
It's been an hour, but we're gonna cap it off. I kind of haven't read Dear Asshole in a while because I did a couple on my own.
Good, perfect,
and whatever. And I think like maybe this one, and again, I never read ahead. I just open to a random page. But this one is called Dear Asshole, Practical Joker. And that might tie into the Willy Wonka thing a little at least. Let's see what these
interesting.
2 fucking rotten people who may not be real have to say about this. Grow up, you attention-seeking clown. Your little stunts aren't even funny. Ooh, that was a low burn. They're just plain lame. Wow, you put my mouse in a Jell-O mold and changed or is it moose? Like your hair? What is this word? Is mouse, right? Or am I crazy? Oh, computer mouse.
Oh yeah.
In a Jell-O mold. Oh, that's from The Office.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, Jesus Christ, they're just stealing jokes from a TV show that literally everyone in the universe has seen. You changed my screensaver to a fat woman in a bikini. How hilarious. Wow, way to body shame, ladies. Not only are your pranks devoid of humor, in that way that I am devoid of E-Rock, they have crossed the threshold into being a pure annoyance. Nothing says fun like scrubbing silly string stains out of my couch. What the fuck kind of friends do you have?
Who's doing this?
It's like, just because it's like a grown adult, like, oh, April Fools.
Like, Dear Asshole, Practical Joker, and it's like, we
kind of parties do you have?
Dear my 8-year-old child that lives with me.
Maybe that's who they've been yelling at this entire time, because they're like,
Kids.
Who didn't flush the toilet?
Oh,
like,
that's super funny.
We're sure this isn't AI.
They're just
some
it was in 2011. Although I have the idea that if we hit artificial superintelligence, that is where it's like, if there is a way to develop some sort of machination of time travel, like that's the only way we'd figure it out, is if we invented something that's become smarter than us by 1,000-fold. And it's like, and that literally is the thing in Terminator, where it's like the machines actually come up with some sort of time machine, but the humans just take it and use it, and then Terminator happens, which are great movies, the first 2. Salvation's actually way better than people give it credit for. But then that's it. The rest suck. Yeah, or spending the afternoon popping all your stupid pornographic balloon creations. Okay, wow. Yeah. Not only were those activities time-consuming, but now everyone thinks I'm a pervert. Boo.
That sounds like a fun party.
P.S. Yeah,
Dick balloons?
This is a joyless turd, this person who wrote this. I've gone over. We have so many pages of this left.
Dude, I'm convinced this is some Karen mom following around her teenage kid.
That's pretty likely at this. It's one of the better theories. Although, again, Chris's theory of AI and my additional theory of time-traveling AI are still way up there. But P.S. If you need a quarter that badly, I'll give you one. Leave my ear out of it. Now we're just yelling at our fun uncle. P.P.S. I'm not sure what you think a penis looks like, but that wasn't it. Okay. This one is just disappointing, and they've all been disappointing. I really have nothing to say about it. I'm going to hate having to just walk over there in a second to get this again, but there we go, right into the kick drum. But I guess, like, if we've learned anything from this particular episode of the podcast, it's that if you're going to sell America a P.T. Barnum-style sideshow, you don't need AI. You just need a two-headed woman that orgasms as one.
The Reverend John Wheeler podcast takes zero responsibility for the words, actions, or ideas of its host, guests, or listeners. Though the people on the screen may at times be speaking directly to you and may occasionally give you direct calls to action, neither Reverend John nor the Alchemical Cocktail Lounge are under any moral or legal obligation to answer for the potentially disastrous repercussions that may arise if you are stupid enough to actually follow the orders of a raving lunatic. Think for yourself and do whatever you want, because you're on your own. If anyone ever tries to sue this podcast, black SUVs will converge on your location in the darkness of night and you will never be seen again. Remember to like and subscribe.